enjoyed a little bit of that music we just heard. My name is Jennifer Bangser, and I'm sitting in the Verso Studios at the Westport Library with a new friend of ours, Nicky Butane. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a delight having you here, and thank you for sharing your music with us.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to do so.
So I'm going to, and also here with Travis Bell, who's our audio studio manager.
Yes, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with Nicky and I today.
Yeah, so I just am really excited to talk about what brought you here, Nicky, why you're here, Travis, what you're doing, and what's happening. So let's start with you, Nicky. How did you end up here in the Verso Studios today?
A good friend of mine for a good while at this point is Chris France. And I was asking Chris if he knew of any good studios in the area that I might look into. I'm working on a project that's a new project, and I haven't recorded any music for almost 40 years at this point. And I'm really excited about this project. And he said, yeah, you should look at Verso Studios. And I said, that is where exactly? And he said, well, it's at Westport Library. And I said, you're kidding. Because I was expecting to come in and find some little kind of rinky-dink operation, you know, and instead there's this beautiful studio, and what makes it even more wonderful is they have an engineer of Travis's caliber. And I don't say that lightly. I've had the good fortune to work in music with some of the best producers out there. Brian Eno, Steve Lillywhite, Mike Thorne. Watching Travis work is like watching a concert grand pianist play the piano. I mean, his hands just fly all over the place, and do you have perfect pitch?
I want to say relative. You know, my daughter has perfect
Relative
pitch.
is pretty good.
I'll tell you what, my daughter has perfect pitch, and she will still get me. She'll be like, from across the room on her guitar, she'll be like, bing, and I'll be like, E flat. She's like, E. You know,
maybe someday we'll see her in here.
Yeah,
right?
I sure hope so.
And he doesn't necessarily remind me of any of those producers that I named, but I was thinking this morning, who would I compare Travis to? And this will cause his head to explode, but he really, to my way of hearing things, is a lot like Jimmy Page on the early Led Zeppelin albums, because his sense of hearing is just near perfect. His sense of where to place instruments within a mix is also nearly perfect. And to have a studio with this capability here in Westport, I mean, Travis could go anywhere he wanted in the country and find full-time work, and he's here making this studio go.
Well, that's an interesting point, because you made a conscious choice to come here to record and discover what Verso Studios is all about from Chris Franz, which is a great recommendation.
Yeah.
And he's been here himself, so to come here with his skills and his success in the recording industry, to come to this really special and unique place.
Yeah.
We have some amazing tools here, and what is most amazing are the support from the staff. In my opinion, working with Nicky and Chris, the pleasure has been all mine. I've had, honestly, some amazingly fun sessions together, and if I can have fun mixing and at a job like this, at a place like Verso, located in the Westport Library, I can't be happier. I mean, this is a dream come true, and I want to continue to bring these resources to Westport and to show everyone what we can do.
Nicky, when you first came in here, what is the most surprising thing you discovered in the Verso Studios?
There are people in any business that are exceptional at what they do. There are exceptional lawyers, exceptional doctors, and there are exceptional engineer producers. And that's the category that Travis belongs in my opinion.
Well, I think that's a beautiful segue into part of what the Westport Library really has been very much about, is giving the best in its class of services and programs that we can give our community. The Verso Studios is a continuation of that excellence, to give the excellence in performance that we can bring to the community, given the facilities of the Verso Studios, opportunities for people to learn more about their craft, but also offering up programs to the community to learn the equipment. Right, Travis?
Right. So we have some incredible training programs here and outreach programs that we're offering throughout the summer. Like Nicky said, I think the most important thing here is how we speak to the community and how we continue to offer this technological ability to artists at an unbelievably affordable rate and make it accessible to everyone who wants to be here.
Absolutely. So, Nicky, you spoke about that you're starting some new music now. It's been a while since you've been in the recording studio. And I love that you're coming in with some freshness in a fresh space. So I think that's kind of a nice marriage in a way.
Yeah, oh, very nice.
How can we help you further once you've finished your product and your music? How can Verso Studios help you get your work out there in the world?
Well, it all becomes a marketing effort after a certain point, and the music business is so vastly changed from when I was hitting the ground running. I'm just going to count on anyone's help to make suggestions as to how to market this. We're doing a 6-song EP. It will be a very high quality recording record.
And we're also launching a new website for the Verso Studios, so I would imagine there'll be an opportunity to hear some of your work through some possible portals on the website.
I would welcome that, Jennifer.
That would be really fun.
You're hired.
Well, thank you. I've got 2 jobs to do now, but that's great.
Jennifer's very busy.
I'm very busy. I love it. Well, tell us a little about your music. What kind of music do you create?
It's new wave music, if that means anything to anyone these days. One of the things that I think is unfortunate is that music has gotten so many labels, and they're so infinitely specialized and specific that it's confusing. Back in the 70s and 80s, when you said new wave, people knew what you were talking about. You were talking about smart music for smart people. And that's not what it means any longer that I'm aware. But so I'm using the dated version of new wave because the musicians that I am working with, I'm working with 2 guitarists that I knew in Washington, D.C., where my band, The Urban Verbs, was located. And they're both just, I think, tremendous creatives. And they agreed we wanted a sound that was sort of like late 60s, early 70s California. And it's a real chimey sort of sound as opposed to a lo-fi sound, which is kind of what is in vogue these days.
Although there's a lot of discovery going on with music from the late 70s and 80s. There's, I've got kids in their 20s, and they're listening. They're very interested in that time period of sound. So,
well, I'm hoping that will be our audience.
Maybe there's a new tipping point in
that has to be borne out so far. But I'm hoping our audience is twofold. I'm hoping it's the people that are sitting in this room right now who would like to hear contemporary music that is done with intelligence and verve. And also, I would love to have young people listen to it because it doesn't sound, to my ear, and of course I would say this, but it really doesn't sound like anything else out there right now. I mean, I
agree with that. I really do.
It's got a very signature sound.
And the music will come out under your name, Nick Butane. It's not your old band.
Well, and as the band name, Flameproof Mascara.
Flameproof Mascara. I think I need some Flameproof Mascara sometime.
Which, by the way, the album art, I'm not sure if that was the finalized album art, but unbelievably cool. Just speaks to the name, speaks to what the songs sound like.
What does it look like? Can you give a little description?
I can show it to you on my computer.
I would love to see it.
I can even send it to you if you want to use it for the library.
Sure, we'd love to.
That's a great thought.
But I did it with an artist named Renato Raposo in Brazil. And Renato spends a lot of time in the U.S. He's both a filmmaker and a visual artist. And Renato turned out to be the perfect person to do it. And so I'll send that to you, Jennifer.
I would love to see that. And it sounds to me like all these pieces are coming together so beautifully for you.
Well, you wait 40 years and things are bound to happen.
There's a good thing about being a patient person, right? You wait long enough and you find Travis, you find the Verso Studios, and you find Ronaldo, and here we are today. Yeah. Well, it's been delightful talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
this has been lovely.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing your music when it's all perfected with Travis's help.
We've got some mixing to do. We've got some Pro Tools edits to accomplish, some stems to print. and we are all ready to do it right here in-house at the Westport Library.
Just want to say this. I've asked 30 or 40 people since I first came in here and met Travis and discovered my new best friend for life. And I've asked them, do you know of another library in the country that has this kind of facility? Now, they've also got a matching video studio, and I used to work extensively in video, and whoever is thinking along these lines is adding a lot of creative value to the community. And Westport was always known as a very creative community.
Well, I think it's also, having grown up here, and I remember my father brought our family here from outside Pittsburgh, where I know you lived also as a young child. He brought us here because he wanted his children to grow up where creativity mattered, right? Mm-hmm. And it does. And some of that heritage of the community as being a creative community still exists very strongly. And
we're stoking the flames here, you know, and we're influencing and creating space for creators. It's it's going to continue to feed itself and become an artistic expression all on its own.
What Bill Harmer, the executive director of the library, likes to say is libraries have always been places where you can go and find content. Now you can create it here.
Yeah. It's an amazing facility and opportunity for this community, and I can readily imagine that there'll be some really great works coming out of here in the very near future. So I salute.
One of them.
You're sparking that revolution.
I salute the people who had the vision to do this. Because I asked, like I said, 30 or 40 people if they knew of another library in the country. No one could name one that has this quality of a facility inside.
Very innovative, and it really is the library of the future, and hopefully it does inspire other libraries. We're lucky here, as you alluded to, having Westport. We got a lot of support from the community to build this library, and that speaks a lot to what people want and know we're capable of delivering. And then we bring in creative people like you to...
And you have a great little cafe, too.
Cafe along the river. We've got the performance space, too, right? We had a crew in here last night. We're doing some live performances and recording them as well. The performance space can hold up to 400 people once we're in a post-COVID world, which we all hope we get to.
We're all moving towards.
We're moving towards. So, if you can imagine it, it can happen here at the library.
Yeah.
Right.
And what a invaluable gift to the youth of this area.
Yes. Yeah.
This has been so much fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sparking us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Nikki, thank you so much
your
for sharing this time with us, and I'm excited to continue to mix with you. And thank you, Jennifer, so much for having this conversation with us.
Yes, and thank you all for listening. This is Jennifer Banks at the Westport Library signing off at the Verso Studios.